easy to let your head go down if things aren't quite going your way. But it can and probably will completely all change.
So the scratch race is a 20-lap affair here in the UCI Track Champions League with track cycling reinvented. That means 5 kilometres, and is the simplest of all bike races on the track in the endurance. It's just the first to cross the line who takes the win. Imagine if you're a road cycling fan, a big flat stage of the Tour de France ends in a bunch sprint. It's exactly what we've got there on the track, unless somebody gets in the breakaway and starts to mix it up.
Yeah, so big unless, of course, if somebody were able to gain a lap on the field and then a lap up on the field. So I do love it when you explain it like that, Rob, and then they go and do something different just to make it complicated. But no, essentially it is the most straightforward race on the track. But yeah, if a rider or multiple riders gain a lap on the field, they are a lap ahead of everybody else, so they are the leaders.
Just in case I didn't look silly enough, you know, I have to give them the chance to do that.
I just made sure everyone realised that as well. I do apologise.
No apologies needed. We've been enjoying this scratch racing and all of those spanners in the works that you talked about, because they're the entertaining races, aren't they? Let's be honest. All respect to those who win in the bunch sprints. It's that attacking that I think most people in here come to see.
And that's the interesting thing about Katie Archibald. She's won this event twice in the last 2 rounds. The first time it was in a bunch sprint at the end. The second time she gained a lap on the field along with Valente. So she's able to win it in completely different ways. If I were one of her rivals, I would be thinking, what the hell can I do to beat her?
We've got our first move, our first attack, and it's come from the rider from the United States, Lily Williams, being followed by one of the 2 Italians. It's Silvia Zanardi. Little bit of a gap for the 2. Behind for the moment, they're working together to try and close things. Already a quarter of a way through this race. 5 laps down. Now Tania Calvo thinks about committing, but doesn't want to do it all herself. One rider on their way across. Oh, a pair are gaining ever so slowly. It's Stenberg who is coming across.
Stenberg, our winner from the elimination race in round 1, so a rider that has gained so much confidence this season. Great to see her come across to that move, but we just had Valente do a big turn on the front there to bring them back within touching distance at the moment.
And that's the way Valente's racing here. She certainly seems to be racing for GC for the overall.
Yeah. Not
necessarily taking individual wins, but just placing high throughout the series.
Yeah, she's a very consistent rider, and, you know, we've heard from Katie Archibald how good Valente is at being consistent. Katie loves to win bike races, but Valente always seems to be in the right place at the right time, follows the right wheels. It's where she needs to be. She followed Archibald on that lap gain last week, didn't win the race, but was happy that that guaranteed her second place.
Well, the first attack has been reeled in. Emily Kay just stretching her legs a little, but without really fully committing. Probably needed someone to go with her with that.
Yeah, ideally, gaining a lap on your own is very tough. So if you can get 1 or 2 riders that come with you, that is perfect. Of course, if you've got too many riders, a big group of sort of 6 plus, it's hard to get everybody to work together.
Now then, here we go. Sophie Lewis. Again. You thought that it was all about the kick-off then. Now it might do, because there's hesitation behind. Sophie Lewis just got that little gap. They're not too worried about her at the minute. And now we get a reaction. It looks like it's Zanardi again. But Sophie Lewis was allowed to sneak away. They hesitated. And she's got third of a lap.
Yeah, that hesitation is all you need, because suddenly the gap that could just be a couple of metres goes out to 10, 20, 30, 40, and before you know it, I mean, she's got almost half a lap on the field here. This is a significant lead with 7 laps to go.
Just shows Sophie Lewis is well down in the overall standings, isn't she? So those up towards the top, the Valentes and Archibalds of this world, realistically aren't going to be too worried about her, even if she wins the race here.
This is where you get the races within races. So it was Valente who was towards the front when Lewis attacked, and I can see that Valente just didn't really respond, and suddenly it went out.
Now you're watching the main group with 6 laps to go on your screen, but it's about a quarter of a lap to go if she's to close the gap here and get the lap, Sophie Lewis. She's still being followed by Silvia Zanardi, but Zanardi, to me, looks like she's faltering.
Yeah, again, hard work to this individually. Currently, we've got Sophie Lewis out on her own, and then about a third of a lap gap back to Zanardi of Italy, again on her own, no one else to work with her. And then we've got a group of 3 who are about to come through on your shot, hopefully, but they are only just ahead of the bunch.
Chloe Moran's there, Teutenberg's there as well, Zanardi's about to be caught, and this race is going the way of Sophie Lewis with 1 kilometre to go. Behind, they're starting to think of positions, think of sprinting for that second position. Sophie Lewis is going to win this bike race. She might not take the lap here, but as long as she has it for the next 750 metres, she will win this race, because they're hesitating, they're waiting behind with 750 metres to go about when they're going to go for the sprint.
Yeah, this is perfect for Sophie. This is awesome riding by her. I am so impressed. 2 laps to go this time, and she has got a huge lead on this bunch. Oh, we've got a crash in the back straight.
Oh, and 3 riders are down behind. 3 riders down behind. Sophie Lewis is about to take the bell. There's a crash on the far side of the track. One of the riders down is Sarah Van Dam of Canada. The bell goes in the meantime for Sophie Lewis. We're looking at the peloton here, who are fighting it out as we come into the final lap. Katie Archibald attacks. Valenti's going to have to follow her. We go now back to the race leader. Sophie Lewis can afford to enjoy this. Sophie Lewis makes a name for herself. Archibald finishes in second place, pardon me. It's a British 1-2, and third goes to Valente. So just a few points clawed back there by Katie Archibald. Valente was 6 points ahead. The window goes to Sophie Lewis. And to add to the complications and the worry, while all that is happening, we've got 2 riders still down on the far end of the track.
Yeah, so some medical attention perhaps needed for the riders in the back straight, but hopefully we'll find out if they're okay soon. Here's Katie Archibald on the screen. So second place for her, winning the sprint. Crucially, though, for Valente, she was right behind her. So only 2 points gained for Archibald. It's very close still. 4 points in it at the top of the women's endurance standings.
So Valente's still in charge, still with that leader's jersey on her back. Katie Archibald doing what she could do there. Second place was the best. Now then, is this the moment that we had riders down? I think it might be. There we go. Ooh, dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I think that's Starikova who goes with her. Let's double check. So Sarah Van Dam here on the left-hand side. And it's a touch with Barbieri. And then, no, that's Teutenberg. Teutenberg who goes down with her. The yellow German jersey. In the meantime, Sophie Lewis. Well, she's certainly got her heart rate up.
She did. She is still such a young rider. And look at the delight on her face there to win this race. This is a huge result for Lewis.